Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here, and today we're talking about Mission Impossible 2. Is it technically the worst but most fun Mission Impossible movie? Let's find out today on Hack the Movies.
Tapes, we're talking about tapes.
Hello Angela, long time no see.
I know. How are you doing, Tony?
Well, I wish I could say I'm doing better, but I got into a fight recently.
Oh no, what happened?
I was just, I was out and about, and I saw people disrespecting women. And we all know how much I respect women. I said, hey guys, stop doing that.
Yeah.
And they, all 15 of them jumped on me, and I was able to take them out because I had just got done watching Mission Impossible 2.
So you know how
yeah,
to,
so I
how to
did. I did a lot of front flips.
Yes.
And then I ran
Twirls.
forward and did back flips.
Yes.
Because when you jump backwards while running forward, it'll make you go forward faster.
Yes.
I learned that from this. And then one of them tried to get away in a car, and I shot the gas tank, and it immediately
explosion.
blew up. And it was a pretty awesome fight. I was pretty manly in it, but one guy got lucky and punched me in the nose, and that's why I had to put this Band-Aid on.
Is that a Batman Band-Aid?
Anyway, Mission Impossible 2. It's a great film. Or is it?
That is no question.
Angela.
Yeah.
We did some commentary tracks last
We
year.
did.
I found out that you really liked the Mission Impossible TV show.
Yes. I love
And-
the TV show.
Somehow, you're the only person under 60, I guess, who has not seen the movies but has seen the TV show.
Not anymore.
Well, not anymore. You've seen 3
I've
movies
seen 3.
and 20 minutes of the 4th one.
That's I've got the
So
gist
yes,
of it.
at the
It's
time
fine.
of this recording, and probably still, we have 3 commentary tracks for Mission Impossibles 1, 2, and 3. We started doing 4, but that was over the summer. I learned what the problem was.
What?
The connections into my house, like
Yeah.
the cable going to my house, they were all corroded.
Oh, well, that
So-
will be why there was no internet.
Yeah, so we got like 20 minutes into it. I'm like, and then it just wouldn't restart. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're done. But yes, those are on Patreon.
It's the best place to go.
It's the best place to go. You get that at the $5 or $10 tier. Or, Angela, say you don't want to pledge. You can just buy it, individual purchase. You can just buy them individually.
What?
It's cheaper if you pledge. But yeah, those are fun because I got to see you witness these films for the first time as a longtime fan of the show.
Right? It was like live reaction, and you got to see kind of my disappointment as we went from first Mission Impossible that like really encapsulated the TV show.
Yes. Twisted on its head a little bit.
Yeah.
Some people might say that the decision to make the hero from the show the villain was a controversial one, and we'll learn from the next film we review, it led to multiple people from the old show not wanting to come back
Yes.
out of fear that the same would happen to them.
Yes. I was going to say, did my research. But yeah, this one's a lot different vibes.
Yes, but I love it. So yeah, this is a big movie for me because this is like when we first got our DVD player.
Oh.
So the first like DVDs you got were like X-Men,
Yeah.
which I'm going to
Solid.
bring up. That's probably the biggest behind the scenes fact about this movie is X-Men related.
Oh, I don't know if I have that
I told you in the
fact.
commentary track, you will remember
Okay.
when we get into it. It was like X-Men, The Perfect Storm, Gladiator, and Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was like 10 or 11 when it came out. So I missed it in the theaters, but I got to see Mission Impossible 1, grew up with that in the 90s, loved it. And
Yep.
like 10-year-olds watching this in 2000, this is the most amazing movie ever
Oh
made.
my God, absolutely.
So I love everything about this. I didn't realize how cheesy it was at the time. You've seen some of the work I've done. I've kind of put in ridiculous action, comedic stuff. A lot of it. I've then realized I love John Woo movies, Face Off,
go.
which we covered on this show.
Did I literally wrote that in my notes. 'Cause there's a moment that's like, face off!
I do love John Woo. Did you see his recent American film, Silent Night?
No.
With Joel Kinnaman. It was actually
No,
pretty
was
good.
it
It wasn't
good?
like the greatest thing ever, but like there's minimal, if like no dialogue in that film.
Ooh, well, I guess a la the title.
Yes, I mean you hear like background talking and so like there are people talking, but there's no like exchanges of dialogue. It's
Okay.
a really interesting film. Not his
Ooh.
best work. But yeah, this is when John Woo was like on fire in America. What was it?
Yes.
This, Face Off, Broken Arrow was another one.
Yes.
I feel like I'm missing one. But whatever it is, it was great. And it led to Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
So this film was written by William Goldman, but apparently nothing from his draft was used.
Yes.
He said the climax and the rock climbing is all they use. And I like the one thing he said. He's like, I couldn't come up with a good villain. The other guy did.
He admits it. He did have Willie Strongman. That's what I call him.
Is that for this one?
Yeah, that's what I wrote down.
Oh, yeah. You're right. So Willie was a character in the old show. Who was the big muscle-bound man, which we joked about in our commentaries. So when I did the first movie with my friend Clavon Karlowitz, he had never watched the show, but he loves the movies.
Okay.
So I had to
we're like
explain some
opposites.
show stuff to him. But yeah, the show is really funny.
Yeah.
Because the mission leader, who is either
Peter Graves.
Phelps, yeah, Jim Phelps, Peter Graves, or the first guy who they fired.
He like gave up halfway through that
It is funny,
season.
like the main character of the first season, they just like got rid of. They're like, he
You're not here
sucked.
anymore.
There are some episodes where he only sets up the team and
And
doesn't
then he
go
just
in the mission.
walks away. No,
He was super
Jim
difficult to
Phelps
work
is
with.
the way to go.
But it was always like you got to get like a few members of your team. It's very formulaic.
Yeah.
You get the mission,
The dossier.
self-destruct. Yeah,
Yes.
Dossier, you get your team, and you do a super convoluted mission.
Yeah, like it always like they have so many moments where they could just shoot the bad guy, and instead they do a 50-minute like Goldberg, like a
They set up a
machine.
circus.
Yes,
And they do stuff, which is a 2-part episode for some
of
reason.
course. And then at the end, like another bad guy shoots the original bad guy.
Yeah,
It's like,
but they always like play off other people.
yeah, they don't shoot anyone because they
Yeah.
are the good guys in the show.
But it's always funny to us because the two that he always picks consistently are, what is it, Candy? Cinnamon, who's a very popular model, and then Willie, who is a famous strongman, and they're always in disguise. It's like, wait, she's on magazine.
She's on He is like out of a circus
Yeah.
of like strongman.
And they're both very public. So when they go into other countries in disguise, like no one has heard of these people. I think an example would be like if the next movie, Ethan's like, we got to go deep undercover. I got 2 agents for the job. Sydney Sweeney and the Mountain from Game of Thrones. And like they're gonna be flight attendants.
yeah, and it is. It's always like
And everyone would be like,
strongman just
you're
walking
Sydney
around.
Sweeney, and that's the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So it was always ridiculous. But yeah, so they wanted a Willie. Obviously, it couldn't be the Willie,
Yeah, I believe they were gonna like recast a younger person, which is
but it would
like,
had to have been
lame.
like his son or something, because this is in continuity with the show.
the first one had
Even though
Jim
they're
Phelps in it.
apparently at the time, no one cares now, and our generation doesn't care. Well, maybe you.
I care.
At the time, fans of the show really hated the Jim Phelps twist in the first movie. So like
Yeah.
that was another person named Jim Phelps who also worked there, and I'm like, all right, guys, just bite the bullet on this one.
Right.
So yeah, I guess they wanted the young Willie, and I guess they threw that idea out. So yeah, then Robert Towne wrote the script. Well, he wrote like the story, and then Ronald D. Moore and Brannon Braga, who I think wrote a lot of Star Trek in the 90s. I think some of the movies and some of the shows. They're the ones who wanted Willie. So yeah, a bunch of people were writing this. This also begins the studio stressing out over Tom Cruise's insistence to doing real stunts.
Can I pulled a quote.
Yeah.
Well, all right. This is like a he said quote because it's from Matt Damon.
Okay.
But he once asked Cruise about like the skyscraper stunt.
Yeah.
And Cruise supposedly said, so I go to the safety guy and tell him this is what I want to do. And the safety guy says, you can't do that. That's too dangerous. So I got another safety guy. And I just feel like that's this movie.
Just a reminder, Tom Cruise is a producer on these films, so
Yeah,
that's why
he's
he gets
allowed to
away
do
with a
that,
lot of it.
but-
As much as the producers yell at him, he is also a producer. So
Yeah. I just like, I don't want to be that person on set who said, yeah, no worry, Tom Cruise, you can do this, and then be the reason he died.
Although he's got to chill with the stunts lately. When you get to the later movies, because I know you haven't seen them yet, but he's doing crazy stunts. But then, like, like the newest one, he jumps off a mountain, which I guess we'll talk about when we get to it. But like they built like a giant ramp that they then had to cover up with CGI to hide that it was a ramp. And then it's like everything is so digital anyway. What was even the point other than you put that behind the scenes thing out to get people in the theater? Because like he actually jumped off a thing.
Yeah.
But when you see it in execute, like the Burj Khalifa tower looks amazing. Because that most of that was real. But then these last two, although they're great and I love them, I'm just like, you didn't have to do all this in camera. Like he actually jumps out of a plane, but then he immediately goes into a CGI storm cloud. I'm like, well, what was the point of really jumping off a plane? It didn't make any sense.
I think he just wants to do it.
I think he just wants to waste people's money, I guess. I
tried to look up what it costs to insure a movie that he's in, and there is no actual number that's been published. But industry norms, it's 1 to 2% of the film budget is what insurance typically costs.
Okay.
But when you're doing something risky like these types of movies, you have to go through this special insurance company that charges 5 to 20% of the budget.
Christ.
And then you have to put down 10% to like get a deductible in there, like to even like a 10% deductible. So it's $20 million because this was, or almost $30 million because this was a $2.9 million movie.
Yeah.
To like get this insured, like
oh my God. That's got to be a nightmare.
right? Like 10-15% of their budget is going just to insure these stunts.
I couldn't find the specific thing, but I heard that like the original cut of this was like 3 hours long. But then again, I hear that about a lot of movies, and I feel like they always start there and they whittle things down. But I think Cruise and John Woo didn't really get along. I think I remember reading something about that. They had to do some reshoots that interfered with a lot of people's schedules. And Dougray Scott had to turn down this little movie. He got a part in a little movie, and he had to turn it down to do Mission Impossible 2. So unfortunately, he did not get to play Wolverine in X-Men, a role that literally had its millionth movie last year. Over 20 years. It's going on 25 years.
Say, yeah.
However, people always say that's like a shitty thing because he's not as big as Hugh Jackman. Like, he's still, like, has been acting consistently, too. Grace Scott. Also, Mission Impossible 2, the highest grossing film of the year 2000. So, like,
not terrible.
No one really lost in this, really. Sure, he's not as big as Hugh Jackman, but he's still really consistent.
Right. And I mean, sometimes you have to wonder, like, how much of that is the character and how much of that's the actor. And it's probably, you know what I mean, right?
It's a little bit because Hugh Jackman did,
both,
like,
right?
redefine Wolverine for people.
Right. That's what I mean.
Wolverine's
so
supposed to be this big.
Right.
It's gigantic.
So, like, right. So it's like, okay, well, maybe, like, of course we love Wolverine, but, like, also we love Hugh Jackman.
It's kind of like one of those things. It's sort of like
Chicken
Robert
and
Downey
egg.
and Iron Man.
Right,
We're like, we like both, and it was a good pairing.
Exactly.
So it opens up in Australia. Sydney,
Perfect
Australia. We meet a scientist played by, I can't pronounce his name, Rade Servej.
Yep. Was
He was Lily Sobieski's dad in Eyes Wide Shut, and he's the homeless guy from Batman Begins, and he's the horny Russian general in X-Men First Class, and he's one of the bad guys in Taken 2. If you've ever seen just like a vaguely Russian character with long white hair, it's this guy. They just cast this guy.
He's got a niche.
I literally know. He's always looked the same in every single movie. So yeah, he's a scientist, and he's sending a message to his friend Dmitri about a villain and a hero. He's being very, very vague.
Well, in order to create a hero, you have to
have a
create
villain. And he shoots something in his arm, and he's like, Dmitri, you have to meet me within 20 hours. So it's very mysterious. We see that Dmitri is Tom Cruise.
On the plane. So I'm guessing
Ethan Hunt, whatever interaction he has with this guy, he goes by the alias Dmitri.
And I think that's the one and only time Ethan Hunt has ever used an alias.
With his actual
face.
With
his actual face, because he is constantly telling people his name.
Angela, a lot of things are very convenient in this film. It seems like they're done for, like, in the moment to be, like, a big shock, and then when your brain turns on later, you're like, that doesn't make sense. Why did he do that? They do the whole you're sorry and I'm sorry thing. But he tells them, like, hey, there's a cure, but it only works within 20 hours. the pilot releases oxygen masks, which knocks out everyone on the plane except for a few people. One of them, I didn't write his name down, is Tom Cruise's cousin.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I did see that his cousin's in it.
I see that guy in a lot of things, and I'm like, you're Tom Cruise's cousin. I know, because he put you in Mission Impossible too.
Yep.
So yeah, everyone's knocked out except for the scientist. And he finds out too late that Dimitri is not Dimitri. And
I love that the reveal is like, he's like, why you keep calling me Dimitri?
You really shouldn't. He's like, you're
clearly.
not Dimitri?
You are not Dmitri.
He breaks his
What a
neck
reveal.
and
Yeah,
just
I know,
kills
this
him. Although we learn he probably shouldn't have killed him, knowing what we learn later on. So yeah, we find out that Ethan Hunt is actually the actor Dougray Scott. And we'll figure out who he is later. Yeah, they actually show the face being ripped off. But
Yeah,
this
they
is the
do.
first time we see the thing on the throat changing their voice. Because he still talks
He
in
talked,
his voice.
yes.
Because I
He
think the
spoke.
previous film... Well, the previous film, Tom Cruise was just like doing that guy's accent. He didn't have the voice thing.
Yeah.
And then when he was Jim Phelps, he didn't say anything.
No, he's just sitting there in the train.
Yeah, so now they have a thing with the voice, which will be in all the other films coming up, the little
It's
neck
very
thing.
convenient.
Yes, it's
so.
very, very convenient.
But also, like, you have a mask that realistic. Like,
Yeah.
I don't doubt your technology.
The technology in this franchise is
it
all
must.
over the place. So yeah, he grabs the suitcase or whatever he had, his bag. He
Yes,
grabs
his
his
bag.
bag and his team gets out of there. And poor son of a bitch pilot wakes up way too late and just crashes into the side of a
Can
cliff.
we note this was a 2000
Yes,
movie?
yeah. There's a lot of movies right before That is funny when you're sitting
2000.
there. You're like, well, there were a lot of plane crashes in movies before 2000.
Before
And
2001.
honestly,
yeah.
it was only like a handful of years before they started coming back in movies.
Honestly, yeah, though. So there's like a moment and you're like, whoa.
There's
they
a moment
really
where
just crashed this plane into the side of a mountain.
Yeah, just blows it up. And then we cut to Ethan Hunt rock climbing with no protective gear
None.
because he is a badass.
There's like this one shot where he like jams his knees into a
Yeah.
crevice so he can just like, like, God damn it.
I think they did have like a small harness and a wire
I think
on
I
him.
read
'cause they were
that
just
they
like,
really tried to like not let him die.
You're like, for the love of God, don't do this. And not all of it was on the mountain. Like the close-ups,
Yeah.
like they built like a rock face. But apparently he did jump and like hurt his shoulder from that one little jump he does.
Yes.
But yeah, he's jamming out to some music. He almost falls. He uses his muscles to wedge himself in between two rocks.
Love.
And this is right away, I feel like John Woo. I don't think John Woo really got Mission Impossible. And I think Tom Cruise gets it, but his ego might have been a little too big that he didn't correct him. Like, these aren't like macho men movies.
Besides Willie.
Besides Willie
But that's
in the
why
original.
he has a separate person for that.
Yeah,
task.
but it's always like, it's more like a team and people working together.
A lot
This
of, like,
one
quickity
tried,
tricks.
this one tried to move it in the direction where like he's the badass hero, and it's really, I mean, he is badass. He
Yeah.
does awesome stuff, but this is the one that was like macho,
Yes.
and I was just like, they're not really
Explosions.
about being macho, dude.
Yeah, I mean, even in the show, like, Jim Phelps has gray hair. Like, he's not even young in the TV show, you know? Like, he is, like, they're, like, doing these tricks
Yeah.
and these, like, schemes.
Yeah, and look, he can be like gymnastics guy, whatnot, but like he's just too badass in this. And I
Yeah.
wonder if this is like, because I guess like Mission Impossible, the first one, came out around GoldenEye. So at this point,
Yeah.
they're competing with 3 new James Bond movies. So I feel like they were like, I gotta look way cooler than that Dick Pierce Brosnan. I gotta look so manly.
Right? And I'm trying to there's a lot of, like, it feels like Michael Bay in here, but this is too early for him, right?
No, he's
was
around
that? He
this
was
time.
okay.
He's doing, he did The Rock at this point.
Okay.
Bad Boys.
Oh, yeah.
But him and John Woo aren't too different
I
with
mean,
their
that's
over-the-top
fair.
action.
And there's just the ending, which is definitely the best part of the movie. But there's just, like, I lose track
Which-
of the explosions.
Which also doesn't feel anything like Mission Impossible. There's like one segment in this film that feels like real Mission Impossible.
Yes.
But yeah, he gets to the top of the mountain, and a helicopter shows up with a grenade launcher that shoots a rocket that has sunglasses in it.
Yes.
Which they sold these sunglasses at the time.
Oh, I bet they did.
Yeah, and I kept forgetting. I was like, make a note to go on eBay and buy those glasses, and I didn't do it. I totally forgot.
I'm
sorry.
disappointed in you.
I'm sorry. I don't know if they still sold them. Actually, you know what? I did buy them, but when I got into that fight with those 15 or 20, I forget the number, I said, guys.
You were busy watching your mission, not fighting.
Because I was accepting a different mission while beating them up. So yeah, we get Anthony Hopkins.
I know, he's just a surprise in this one.
I think he went uncredited, but also he was kind of like on fire at that point too. Well,
because
they brought him back for Hannibal, which I love, and I have a whole episode on. And that was
I actually just watched Hannibal.
And that was a very big movie, not a very well-received movie. What did you think of Hannibal?
I love Edward Norton.
No, that's Red Dragon.
Oh, I'm thinking of just kidding, then I don't know. I watched the wrong movie.
Hannibal was the one where they got rid of Jodie Foster and replaced her with Julianne Moore.
Well, instantly terrible then. No.
That movie also. All those movies are super faithful to the book, although that one was smart enough to go, everyone hates the end of the book. We got to change it for the movie. Watch my episode to find out what it was.
There you go.
So yeah, he gets his mission from Anthony Hopkins.
Can we mention real quick?
Yes.
For those who have not seen the TV show.
Yes.
Of course you get the like Jim Phelps would walk into somewhere totally inconspicuous, like a movie theater, a like photo booth, a just mall somewhere, right? And he would just do something totally normal, like just like get a box of popcorn or something.
Yeah.
And then in the secret normal thing, there would be his little mission and it would self-destruct in, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And this is like not secret at all.
But to their credit, there's a story reason for it, because he apparently went on vacation and didn't tell anyone where he was going. So they're like, motherfucker is climbing a mountain, get a helicopter.
They just send a helicopter. I also note...
Wait, by the way, if your agent is on top of a mountain, you probably could just walk out and be like, yeah, here's the mission. Can you go do it? I'm not going to blow up because no one's around here.
The rocket launcher, like with the sunglasses, like very. But they got a helicopter for this movie, and by God, were they going to use it?
Oh yeah,
they
love helicopters in the
helicopter shows up.
Oh, and the next one they go all in on helicopters. So yeah, he finds out that he needs to look into Sean Ambrose. Or no, I don't think they tell him about Sean Ambrose yet. No, they don't. They tell him he has to recruit a team.
Yes.
For something called Chimera.
Yes.
And he could pick any agents he wants, but he needs to pick a girl named Nyah. It is imperative that he specifically choose her.
Yes.
So he has to pick her up. I forget where they are, Seville or something.
Yeah, in Spain somewhere.
Yeah, and bring her to wherever Anthony Hopkins is. And he says, like, next time you go on holiday, let us know where you are. He's like, if I did, it wouldn't be holiday. And then he throws the glasses at the camera. And they explode, and then we get the fuse, but we don't get flashes till later in the movie.
Right, and it's like different music.
Oh, well, it's Hans Zimmer. I have the record there. This is the little inside thing. It looks like a mission debriefing thing. Yeah, it's Hans Zimmer. This is 2000, so Gladiator the same year, and a lot of this music sounds like Gladiator.
Yes, and Gladiator sounds like...
Oh, I think they came out the same month. If I remember right, both these movies came out the same month.
I recently watched Gladiator for the first time, and I listened to it. I was like, this is absolutely Hans Zimmer, like doing this.
Yes.
Like this sounds just like one of his other movies. Now I can't remember.
Hans Zimmer's great. I love his music.
Yeah.
According to I use Amazon Music, and apparently last year, like one of the things I listened to the most was the Dune 2 soundtrack.
Ooh.
Totally unrelated. I got high a lot last year. So it was Dune 2 and then like lo-fi hip hop covers of Mario. And I was like, oh yeah, that was a stretch a month where I was like doing a lot of edibles. The Dune 2 soundtrack's great. But he is a great musician.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think he outdid himself when he scored the film that I starred in, The Dark Knight Rises.
Of course.
But once in a while, he can kind of rip himself off. And it's fine when he's doing a sequel. It's fine he's doing a sequel, but like there are moments later on in this movie that sound straight out of Gladiator.
Yes.
And I don't know if he was working on both at the same time and then accidentally mixed
Swapped
them and
the
went,
sheet
"Yeah,
music
hold
by
on."
accident.
This is like the heavy metal, like,
Yeah.
you had more time to work on it because Danny Elfman did the previous one, but he was like a last minute replacement.
Yes.
Yeah, but this is definitely like of its time, the whole metal
Right.
riffing stuff. I mean,
They have like Limp Bizkit does a song. for it.
are you asking about that is the musical score? I do have the CD here with the songs. No. I think you're thinking of I Disappear. Oh, no. Here we go. Limp Bizkit, Take a Look Around.
Yeah.
Theme from Mission Impossible 2. Number 2 song, Metallica, I Disappear.
There we go.
Rob Zombie, Scum of the Earth. Butthole Surfers, They Came In. I don't like They Came In, the Butthole Surfers. I don't like that at all. I don't, that they should have fixed that. The Pimps, Foo Fighters and Brian May, Chris Cornell, Godsmack. This is a very 2000s
Yes.
score.
They wanted you to know what year it was.
They were like, none of this will ever be dated.
Oh, God.
A lot. That is the thing when late 90s, early 2000 movies are super dated by their music.
I just rewatched Lord of the Rings, the like trilogy.
Yeah.
And love it, but there's just moments with camera angles where you're like, yeah, this is 2000.
Yep.
This was made.
Oh.
It has the same camera angles in here.
Choppy slow motion. We'll get to that.
Yes.
We
God, that
brought
was
it up
always
so
like-
much on this show that the early 2000s choppy
Just
slow motion
like,
drives me
they
nuts.
had the technology.
Yes, that's the
make
most
good-
disappointing thing.
Yes.
They had it and they chose
And
not to
it's
do
just
it.
gone. I've watched a lot of 2000s now. I'm realizing very recently.
Recently.
Yeah, I watched Gladiator. I watched Lord of the Rings.
Have you not seen Gladiator?
I
Did you watch Gladiator too?
I was going to do Glicked,
Oh God.
Gladiator, Wicked.
They keep trying to
same
one up
day.
Barbenheimer. It's never gonna happen.
It's never going to happen, but I thought this was a good way to get both sides of my friend groups together. And then it just never happened because we didn't plan it far enough in advance.
Gladiator
Other
2.
people stole our idea.
Gladiator 2 is terrible. But Denzel Washington is great in it. But it's terrible. Also, I was going to see Wicked. I was going to tough it out for the monthly wrap
Yeah.
up. And then I found out it was part 1 and I was like, "Oh, you fuckers aren't getting me." I don't have a girlfriend at the moment, so I'm
see?
not sitting through 2 fucking Wickeds. Never will I sit through 2 Wickeds.
Well, see, I couldn't see them together, so I saw neither of those movies.
That's fine. I assume you lucked out. So yeah,
I guess back to this movie that we're supposed to
yes, back to
review.
this movie. That's a problem. We go a long period not talking, and then we talk about everything in these episodes.
Sorry.
So then we see some flamenco dancing.
Oh, great transition.
Yeah, and we get introduced to Nyah, played by Thandie Newton,
Yeah.
whose real name, her first name is Melody.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's like Melanie Thandie Newton. I'm like, you would pick Thandie over Melody?
Right?
Anyway, who looks fucking great in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she was in Westworld.
I didn't watch Westworld.
She's in it.
I mean, okay. She's in a lot of movies, Angela. I don't know if you know this.
That's the one that was important to me.
Does she look great in Westworld?
She does. She like plays one of the like saloon robots.
There's robots in Westworld?
Spoiler.
No, I've seen the original. That's the thing. That show came out. I'm like, I've seen the original. Apparently, it ended up sucking, like most shows do. I can't
First
watch.
season, great, and then I gave up.
Yeah, that's why I don't watch most like big shows anymore.
Yeah.
Any show that everyone's talking about, I'm like, no, wait a season or 2. But yeah, she looks fucking great in this
Yeah.
movie. They make sure
killing it.
to get as many shots of her cleavage.
Oh,
There's
like
there's one
very
point.
low cut.
Yeah, so she notices Ethan's following her.
Yeah.
She breaks into someone's like apartment and she's picking a lock. He finds her in the bathtub. And then they like the owner comes home and they're hiding in the bathtub. But there's a point where like literally every time the camera cuts, her cleavage is in both shots.
And both shots, it's just magic like that.
And I
how
don't
that
know
works.
if this guy got an Oscar, but he deserved it. Whoever the cinematographer was. They should have went even further, like to a point where it made no sense.
Right, just
It's
like
every shot.
angle.
But yeah, then again, they're competing with 3 recent James Bond movies. They have to have weird
That's true.
innuendos, which I feel like weren't a thing in Mission Impossible.
Do you mind if I'm on top?
Either way works for me.
No, they weren't. Very rarely.
I'm not saying they didn't exist, but then she does the whole, like, because they're hiding in the bathroom. She's like, do you mind if I get on top?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like that's more of a James Bond thing.
Yeah, that was never part. Like the show, sometimes their undercover would be that we're husband and wife, and that was like they're undercover, but there was never an actual like love triangle or anything.
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
not like
There's no.
they're not doing like sex
They don't
puns.
have time for that
Yes.
in the IMF, okay? And we see later on this bites him.
Yes. Maybe he learned. Unlike James Bond, who never learns these lessons, never ever. Ethan, this is like the one time where he's like, I'm gonna get lucky on the mission. Then he learns is like, I'm gonna get married in the next movie.
Right,
I
know.
So yeah, she sets off the alarm after stealing the jewels. But it's fine. Ethan has a cover. He is the head of their security. And he's like, oh, me and her were just testing out the security. He's like, we think the alarm should have. He plays it off really well. But we realize she is a thief. She is a career thief. But I like that even after they have the cover and everything, she tries to leave with the jewels. He's like, oh, ma'am, I think you forgot. And she looks really, she can't break her cover, but she's like staring lasers into his eyes. She's like, okay.
And just whips it out of that very low cut dress.
Yes.
Somehow it's hot.
And I love the Spanish guy. Like, madame, are you trying to rob me? But yeah, she's annoyed that Ethan screwed her plan, and she's confused why he wants to work with her. And I like that he reveals, he's like, yeah, I was scoping you out for things. She's like, why? I messed up. He's like, no, you didn't. I set off the alarm. And then he sets it off again, and you hear all the security guard rush back into the room.
He's just being a dick.
So yeah, the next day, he stalks her while driving on the side of cliffs. He really loves cliffs in this movie. Cliffs are his like thing. Tom Cruise went through a phase where he's like, I'm all about cliffs and motorcycles and rock climbing.
I did want to ask, is this the time of like Motor X? What is that called? BMX bikes.
Well, that's different. BMX is like
no, I know,
bicycles.
but there's like a time where I just feel like there's just so many motorcycles in the dirt.
Oh,
like,
yeah. What do they call it? God damn it.
Yeah, what is that?
There's a word for it at motocross or something.
Motocross.
Yeah.
Is this that time of
Well, I just think motorcycles were looking
timeless?
Cooler. I think motorcycles are getting more sporty at this time,
Gotcha.
so you could do more with them. You're not like big Harleys or shit. But yeah, so he's chasing her around. He calls her on her car. And I like that she's like, how do you have this number? I don't have it, which means she stole the car.
Yeah.
But he's just like, look, let me do this. She's like, all right, you have to catch me first. So they endanger everyone's life on this road.
Like a lot of people's lives.
And then he almost kills her. He like crashes into her. The cars get stuck. And then they almost go off the cliff. He catches her.
Yes.
She decides she will work for him. And then I have it here. Oh, I guess they're in love.
It like smash cuts to the bed.
Yeah. Should I be running women off the road? Is that going to help me, Angela? Should I try this? It's one of the things I haven't tried yet.
Haven't tried. Oh, well, see, that's
next. I'm going to go drive around cliffs and be like, "Hey, lady!"
Scream to them.
I'll catch you, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
It really, and see, that's what. Where I'm like, this is a bad plan. I say he tells her his real name.
Yeah.
Not being sneaky.
He's the worst at that. But yes, then he meets with Hopkins.
Oh, yes. Now I have. Surprise, Anthony Hopkins.
Yes. Who's mocking the local tradition of burning the saints.
Yep.
He shows him the call from help from the dead scientist.
Yeah.
And he's like, we got to get him out there right now. He's like, actually, he's already dead. And the reason he died is because they could not find Ethan because he was on vacation. So Ethan, I could see why he's stressed.
Yeah.
Going on vacations could lead to viruses wiping out the world.
It's like there is no work-home balance for this man.
Yes. Which we're going to learn in the next film. So they had Sean Ambrose, the Dougray Scott character, fill in for him. He filled in with Ethan a few times before. But Ethan does not like him.
No, he doesn't.
Because as you said earlier, the IMF really likes to come up with elaborate missions. He's the one agent who's like, I'm just going to shoot everyone.
He does.
Just going to shoot everyone.
He's like, guys, we have guns.
We have guns. Just, how are we going to get it? Like, oh, we're just going to kill the head of security and bribe everyone and do evil stuff. We're the good guys. So they realize that Ambrose has pretty much gone rogue.
Yes.
And he's got something called Chimera, but no one knows what Chimera is.
I really want it to be like Full Metal Alchemist Chimera.
Okay, I don't watch cartoons. They're for children. What is this?
It's you just combine a human,
Okay.
like a little girl,
Okay.
and then an animal, like
Okay.
her pet dog,
Okay.
and you smoosh them into one being.
Oh. There's a DC Comics character who does that. His name's Beast. His power is he can combine two animals and put them together.
Do they enjoy being together? Because
Well, then they become one animal.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. I think Beast
See?
came out first. Do the people in Full Metal Alchemist wear little jungle speedos and funny masks?
No, they kind of die very soon after you turn them into a chimera.
Oh, well,
They don't
Beast
last
is the one who
long.
dresses like that. I think his
Gotcha.
monsters, I think his creations, he could separate afterwards. That
Oh,
sounds
no.
like the horror version.
Yeah, this is definitely the horror
This
version.
sounds like Jeff Goldblum getting in a teleporter with
Yeah.
a fly. This sounds like a nightmare.
That's what I want from this. I want Jeff Goldblum.
Ethan,
to-
he's putting Jeff Goldblum in teleporters with various animals. Just Jeff Goldblum? Like, yes.
Just Jeff-
The poor son of a bitch. He's like 8 different animals right now. Oh, God, we got to mercy kill him.
Yes.
So,
So
yeah.
that's what I wanted from this.
Unfortunately, you did not get that. But yeah, they tell him, like, yeah, so we don't know what Chimera is, but we want you to get it back for us. Anthony Hopkins is very much like, we want you to retrieve it for IMF. And then he's like, oh, by the way, the reason we have Nyah on there is because she's his former lover. And Ethan's like,
You told me you needed a thief.
what? And I like Anthony Hopkins like, oh, sorry, you either misunderstood or I misled you.
Yeah.
Either way. Fucking asshole.
This is like instant karma for sleeping with the first woman you meet on your job. Like, that's the very first person he pulls in for this gig. And he's like, instant.
He should know better by now. Like, they really want, usually they let me pick the team, but they want her. I wonder what her deal is. I probably shouldn't sleep with her right away before taking that. I would have waited until after the meeting, personally.
I think this is like a theme in movies where spies all sleep together, right? There's many a movie about
Oh,
this.
again, James Bond.
James Bond,
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Well, in the first movie, it was kind of implied that he might have been getting on with Phelps's wife.
Oh, yeah.
But he wasn't like a horned up dude in that.
No,
And this
and
one,
this
he's a little
one's
horned
like-
up. And again, I think it's because they're trying to be like James Bond.
I just feel like if you were a real spy, you would not do that.
Oh, I'm sure someone's done it and fucked up, but I don't think it's like the
Like a good spy.
He should not
He's
be
too good of
doing
a
it. He
spy
should
for
know
this.
a little bit better than this.
Yes.
You know, Jim Phelps was a great agent before he got a young, hot wife, and then suddenly he became a bad guy. Ethan should be
Right?
real careful about the women he lets into his life.
Yeah, and he was already framed in the last movie, so he knows he can't trust people.
I want to make that movie where Phelps is just gaslit by his wife. You can afford the bigger mansion if you just did crimes. Like, okay, I guess I'll do crimes. He tries to get Nyah out of it, and he says to Anthony Hopkins, she's not trained for it. And Anthony Hopkins has a great line.
But to go to bed with a man and lie to him, she's a woman. She's got all the training she needs.
Damn.
Only in the 2000s could a good guy say that line. I feel like now you can't say that line.
I just feel like it's one of those moments where people accidentally like say more than they mean to say. You're like, people are like, oh, I've never met a happy woman. It's like, what is the common denominator there?
I don't know. If he's talking about a thief, I think that's the correct
mean,
assumption.
that's
Like, she
fair.
probably does. I don't know if all women are having this.
Maybe not like a hashtag not all women,
Yeah, hashtag.
but
I just thought that was a great line. I'm like, that's a good one.
is.
So
Anthony
yeah,
Hopkins.
she's reluctant to join the mission.
Yes.
Because she hates Ambrose. Because
Of
as we
course.
learn, he's a psychopath.
yeah.
And Ethan's like, I don't even want you to join the mission, but it would really help if you did. Can you please do it? So yeah, she reluctantly agrees.
Yes.
And she's like, how am I going to get involved with him? So they purposely arrest her.
Yes.
And they broadcast this big score that she did that went wrong so it would get on Sean Ambrose's radar so that he would bail her out of jail.
Because you got to remember, this is before social media.
Yes.
So you got to go so big.
Yes.
That, the
That was the
that
only way-
international news.
That was
picks
the
it up.
only way to get attention. If I lost someone's phone number, I would have to go and
Yeah.
try to steal the crown jewels. And someone would be like, oh, there's Tony. I forgot to call him.
You can't slip into their DMs. It's a little more complicated back then.
So yeah, Hunt recruits a guy named Billy Baird, who's just a wacky Scotsman, I think. He never comes back.
No.
And he's got to get his boy Luther. I like that the IMF did hire Luther after that previous one.
Yes.
They're like, wait, you broke into the CIA? And they're like, well, it's technically wrong, but I guess since you helped us out, we'll give you a job.
I know, that was very
That is
exciting.
because remember, he was a bad guy. He was like a bad hacker.
Oh, that's right.
Because remember, the whole thing, he was disavowed, so he had to get bad guys to team up
Yes,
with him.
that's what you do when you're disavowed. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I was just really happy that he came back. So
I
didn't
love
care
Ving
why.
Rhames.
I
Ving Rhames is in
know.
all the... As much as I love 4, and we'll get to it, he has a cameo. He's not part of the mission. That's like the one thing I didn't enjoy about 4. But since then, they've corrected that. They're like, no, you put fucking Ving Rhames in all of them.
He needs to be here. They give her a cool tracker in her ankle.
Yes, they give her a tracker. I like when Luther shows up, he steps in shit.
Oh, yep.
And he's like, shit. He's like, yeah, it is. He does not like Billy for whatever reason. But yeah, they're using the satellite to find Nyah, and she's meeting with Sean. John Woo has to make everything amazing and awesome. So even a man catching a scarf in the wind
Oh my god.
has to be slow motion with a huge musical sting and multiple camera cuts. It's like, all right, John, let's tone it down just a little bit.
See, this is part of how like the first half of this movie is so slow because there's so many moments.
I mean, they're setting up, I guess, but it doesn't feel like the usual setup for a mission.
Right? It's just, I just feel like compared to the last 30 minutes versus the first 30 minutes, how much
It really
content
does
you
go
get.
from like 0 to 60 really quick.
Yeah.
So Sean's right-hand man, Hugh, Richard Roxburgh, he was the bad guy in Moulin Rouge.
I love Moulin Rouge.
It's the only other movie I can remember him being in.
And he's wonderful in that, so
Moulin, you like Moulin? We should revisit Moulin Rouge.
I will.
It'll get 5 viewers, but we can make fun of Hugh McGregor's awkward singing.
Aw, but he's such a little baby.
We can see not as much plastic surgery Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. She doesn't do any of her own singing in that.
Yeah.
It's all
Sorry, look,
someone else.
I like Nicole Kidman and everything. But when I watch period pieces with her, like The Northman, I look at her and I'm like, they didn't have plastic surgery back then. I'm like, and it's like just really obvious.
It is.
If she's playing like a woman in modern times, I'll go with it. But
Right.
when I see her period piece, I'm like,
know.
no, get that out of there.
I mean, she is wonderful, but I also it's not subtle.
Yeah, it's gotten like because now you have to see her in front of every movie at AMC, so
Oh,
it's becoming more noticeable.
Yeah.
Apologies to Nicole Kidman. I'm sorry.
We love you.
You're not the only one doing it. If it makes you feel
Exactly.
better.
We get it.
So yeah, Hugh is suspicious of Nyah.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't like her, and then Ethan is full of jealous rage. And it's like,
Classic.
well, Ethan, what did you expect? It's like, and also Ethan, like you slept with her once after knowing her for a day. Can you just?
He really gets attached.
He really does, and I'm just like, you're like late '90s Tom Cruise. You'll be
Right.
fine, dude. You're good.
Yeah. There is. You're not hurting for.
Like in real life, you're scoring Nicole Kidman. Can you relax? And you go to
wow, we've
Katie
come full
Holmes after
circle.
this. Sean makes her wear a sexy red dress and then changes his mind mid-dressing. So yeah, and then Ethan has to walk out of the cuck shed. He like goes out. He's like, oh, and it's like, what did you expect, asshole?
It just.
So yeah, they dissect the Chimera myth. And
Yes.
Ethan kind of pieces together because he knew what the doctor did for a living. He's like, I think because Chimera in mythology was multiple animals put together. He's like, I think they made a virus and an antivirus. And we don't know exactly what's going on, how this works in. But that is their theory. Sean shows Hugh that they're about to make 37 million pounds.
Yes. It's
Uh,
not in U.S. dollars. I really remember that.
Yes, because they say pounds over and over again.
So many times.
And he's letting Hugh, he's like, Hugh, relax. We're going to make a lot of money. It's fine. And then Hugh's like, yeah, but I don't trust Nyah. It's all a little too convenient. And Sean's like insane. And like, he like grabs him and grabs his finger
Oh yeah, with the like.
with the cigar cutter. But he tells him,
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, maybe it is a little convenient that right after the plane, she suddenly gets on a thing making me want to bail her out. And maybe she is a secret agent, but I don't know for sure. So you should just relax. And why can't I get laid? It's just like, wow, the bad guy is just not very subtle in this one.
I feel like one of them has listened to Anthony Hopkins' speech about ladies, and one of them hasn't. So
I feel like Ambrose might have worked a little too closely with Hopkins. Maybe that's why Hopkins doesn't come back. They're like, wait, someone higher up was like, wait, Hopkins wanted you to get the secret virus? Yeah. Oh, we're firing that guy.
I feel like that's the same problem with the first movie too. There was like a bunch of IMF agents who were like went rogue.
Well, they didn't know that at the time.
They gotta really tighten up this force.
So yeah, he cuts off Hugh's finger.
Which is an important
It
note.
becomes a very important detail.
Yeah.
Also, was Hugh doing cocaine? Why was just the pinky finger really long? All his fingers were fine. That one did have a long nail. And it's like, what are you doing, buddy? Billy gives Nyah an earpiece so he could talk to Ethan while they're at the racetrack.
Yes.
Because she's there with Ambrose. She's pretending to be all in love and like, oh, wow, your horse won. She updates Ethan. She's like, yeah, so I saw a picture of money. They're going to make a lot of money. And then while that's happening, they notice Sean is meeting with a guy named John McCloy. Who plays that? Is that Brendan Gleeson, that actor? I think so. He's meeting up with this guy named McCloy, who was the scientist boss.
Yes.
And he looks very upset by the stuff Sean is showing him on his digital camera with the big CF card.
Yes, and the CF card, to put that just in an envelope?
Yeah.
I like hurts my soul. I'm like, you're gonna break this.
It's gonna break.
You gotta put it in a case.
Put it in a bubble, at least a bubble envelope. Put it in a bubble mailer. Come on.
Like just an envelope.
So they know he's blackmailing him, but they don't know with what. So they need Nyah to steal the envelope from his left jacket pocket.
Very important.
So she does, and she almost gets caught because he's like, hey, wait a minute. And she has to turn around and drop the envelope.
Down into like, first out of her arm, into her hand, into her back.
Yeah. She's like, what? He's like, put some money down for me, too. Because at the race there.
At the horse track.
Yes. So Hugh is following her, and Billy stops him. He slams the door on his face. And I like that Hugh almost murders Billy in front of everyone. And also, it always cracks me up when people say the Lou.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. No, I don't want to spoil it. There's an episode coming out in June that I shot recently, and I said something that's very local to Philadelphia, and I did not know and got very made fun of for it.
Oh my God, I love it.
So look for the Judge Dredd episode coming in June.
We all have to watch.
So Ethan meets with Nyah.
Yes.
And I like that he's like chewing her out and everything, and then she's like, what are you gonna do? Spank me? And then it hard cuts to Luther in between them. Like, can I have the card and the camera now?
Right,
that cut to Luther looking really awkward is so good. But yeah, he has to get the card and copy everything over.
Yes.
He has to do it really, really quick. And it shows how deadly the virus is. They show this previous scientist who got infected, and it just eliminated his cells. And within 20 hours, you're dead. Yeah, so now that they have the information, he's like, get out of Australia. And he's like, I don't know how to get out of this situation. He's like, if you don't leave, I'll come get you. I will save you. So she meets back up with Sean and puts the envelope in his right jacket pocket.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah.
Well, she's a thief. She's used to taking things, not putting things back. That's not
I
her
guess
specialty.
I guess so. I guess covering her tracks isn't her strong suit. So Ethan's team kidnaps McCloy. They like gas him inside of his limo.
Yes.
While Nyah meets with Ethan. So then McCloy is being tricked into thinking the scientist is alive. And they get him to confess everything. He created the virus and the antivirus. He wanted to see how deadly the virus was, but he didn't want to do it with microscopic organisms. He needed like a human test subject to really scare people into wanting this cure for this virus.
Yeah, you got to have stakes or else people won't pay.
Yes. You could be like, I have a cure for this virus. Is the virus out? No. Well, then we don't care.
I don't want to, pre-order this subscription.
I don't want version 1 of this.
No, I'll wait for the bugs to get fixed.
So yes, he confesses to everything. He's like, I'm in the business of making money.
Yeah.
So yeah, they knock him out, and it turns out the doctor is Ethan. But who's the Ethan Nyah's talking to? It's really Sean. So he meets with her, and he's just like, you can't leave. I was wrong. He'll be on to you. Just stay here for now. And she's like, Ethan, I love you. Blah, 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 blah. So she leaves, and I like that he like takes the mask off, and he's crying.
So sad.
And he was
Everyone's just instant in love with her.
Yeah. Well, he had a previous relationship, I guess, but
I know.
I don't know if he also knocked her off a cliff, but
I mean, maybe that's what like really gets her attention.
I guess so. But yeah, he's like all broken up about it, and he hears about the other team kidnapping McCloy. So he
Yes.
knows exactly what Ethan's going to do. Because again, he's worked with Ethan. He's doubled for Ethan.
Right, he knows. This is not the first time he's dressed up as Ethan.
Yes.
Okay.
And this scene is great. I love this scene because they're doing the Mission Impossible thing where they're coming up with
Yes.
their plan on how they're going to get in the lab. But how we're getting told the plan is mostly through the bad guy making fun of how Ethan is going to do his
Yeah.
plan. He's like, oh, he'll probably enter the building somewhere at the top.
And then he's like, I'm going to go in through the vents.
Luther's like, there's an atrium that houses sunlight, but it closes at night. And if we open it, it'll only be open for 40 seconds. That's to get you down and the cable out.
up.
And Ethan's like, that's the only way to do it. And I like that Ambrose is making fun of him. He's like, he'd rather do some crazy high stakes thing than harm a hair on a security guard's head.
Right?
It's just such a fun way to have this scene told to us.
Yes.
Because we've never seen it from this point. We've never seen the villain telling us their plan as an insult. It's like the first movie was really good at subverting the formula. This is the only time this movie really does it well.
It looks like, what is their projector? It looks like it's just inside a big Pelican case. This was just so
Yeah, he has
distracting
like a
to me.
projector in a Pelican case. I guess it
Yeah.
was cool at the time.
Like the largest Pelican case you could find with like a cable in the one end and
Well,
a projector in the
projectors were
front.
big back then.
That's true.
So yeah, Ethan's plan, like I said, is to go through the top. So they're going to use a helicopter. And then we get the wire hanging scene. They knew that was the standout of the previous film. So we
Yes,
get
they
Ethan
needed it.
wiring into the building. And then he stops it right before he hits the ground. And it's just like, okay, it's not as tense as the first one.
No.
Because, like, I guess there's a
It's from
security
a
guard who puts-
farther distance, right? Like they
Yeah.
try to make it look bigger, but it doesn't have the same oomph. I
Yeah,
feel
for whatever reason, it just doesn't. I know the stakes are pretty much the same and everything. It's just the fact that they're trying to one up with also a wire stunt. It just
Yeah.
doesn't work. Even though they're counting down and that's pretty tense.
Yes.
Where he's like 10, 9, 8, because there's a security guard there. He has to wait for him to turn around before he can cut
He
the
can
clip.
cut the, yeah.
So yeah, he cuts the clip. They get out. They're good. He's able to walk around the lab, but now they're missing communication. He tells them like for 8 minutes we'll lose communication. So he's taking his slow time, going to each little petri dish, shooting them with lasers.
Right. Well, I want to say his hazmat suit is so cool
Yeah.
looking. I've recently had a shoot that I had to do in a bio lab,
Yeah.
actually, and
Yeah.
I had to wear a hazmat suit that did not look as cool as his. I did not get a really neat, like, he almost looks like he's like in a futuristic,
Yeah.
like, space suit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, he's like real nice and tight with a cool helmet, and I'm just like walking around as a big marshmallow with these very like unwieldy outfit. So I just was very jealous
Yeah.
of his really cool hazmat suit while he's going around in this like deadly lab lasering things.
Yeah, he is the form-fitting hazmat
Yeah,
suit. Is
you know what
very
I mean?
nice. But yeah, taking us. Oh, we forgot to mention Chimera is like influenza. It's different influenza strains that turn into like super flesh-eating influenza or
Yeah,
something
I'm
like
just
that.
really upset that it doesn't turn people
doesn't turn you into an
animal.
animal.
That's just the whole time I was waiting for it, and I'm like, damn.
So again, with the contrast, we see Ethan did his whole complicated thing, and then we see Ambrose come in and just shoot the security guards and make their way up the stairs.
How you doing? Bam. Like, that's what I was waiting for.
Also,
It's
now
actually
that I'm
great.
realizing, competing with 007, Ambrose is like the evil Ethan Hunt. They did that with GoldenEye, where 006 was like the evil James Bond. I'm like, it's taking a little too many cues from those movies.
Yeah.
Should have just been its own thing. I say that as someone who's seen this movie a million times and will continue to watch it.
Also, saying that about a sequel? Like, why isn't the sequel its own movie?
You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Ethan gets in the room with the viruses that are in the canister.
Yeah.
And he shoots them into a thing that fries them.
Yeah,
And there's
sure.
3 injector guns that are loaded with the virus. And then the last one, he hesitates to think about his friend who died.
Who, like, sacrificed himself,
Yes.
essentially, right?
Yes.
'Cause
He
he-
like shot the virus into him so he could bring it to Atlanta for the CDC so they can use the cure and be able to figure out a way to mass produce it. So yeah, he's thinking all about that in that moment, which gives Ambrose enough time to like blow up and shoot up the lab. to steal
Very
the sample.
Unsafe. Like
Very
again, like
unsafe.
there's like all these like safety glass and you have to like put your hands through the special gloves so that you're not like exposing anything to the air.
And they just walk out
It's
guns
just
blazing.
Bam, bam, bam.
Which is funny because at one point they shoot the canister that slides it. He's like, stop it. It's like, well, what the fuck are you doing, buddy?
Right? I know. There was a moment where we started being concerned that this virus might kill everyone. And then we were like, fuck it.
So then we get a bunch of choppy, slow motion fighting. And this is also Ethan, the beginning of him doing unnecessary twists and slides during his fight.
So many flips.
Which the whole like jumping and sliding with guns, that's a 90s.
Yeah.
John Woo kind of perfected that. So it's one of those like, it's okay when you do it.
Yeah, that's right. You're like, all right.
But also,
fine.
as someone who likes the 90s Robert Rodriguez, I love that kind of over-the-top gun action.
It just gets to be a moment where I'm like, you just don't have to twirl anymore. Just shoot. Like
Some of it's a little ridiculous. I will say Robert Rodriguez isn't as good doing it these days.
Yeah.
He did one of those new Star Wars shows, like the dumb Boba Fett show.
Oh, okay.
And he had a guy with like a long trench coat do an unnecessary twirl to shoot. And like as a fan of his, I'm like, no, I get what you're doing. It's not really hitting as hard as it used to. But people who aren't familiar, they're like, what the fuck was that twirl? And I'm like, oh, that's not a Star Wars thing. That's a Rodriguez thing.
yeah.
I'm very used to this. This is not his best example. I'm very used to The best thing was in Desperado where Banderas like whips the guns while he shoots, which I don't think I don't know if that makes the bullets go out faster.
You gotta. Of course they do.
So Luther almost gets blown up. I like that they
Yes.
knew Luther would be in a van outside and they
Right?
go to blow him up. And then Ethan and Ambrose, they yell at each other. Ethan's talking about Ambrose's plan. It's like, oh, you had this, blah, blah, blah. You have it all set up. But then Ambrose reveals that he has Nyah hostage.
Dun dun dun.
And Ethan's like, no, that's the love of my life as of 2 days ago. Ah!
Yet again.
And they said Nyah to grab the virus. And to screw Ambrose over, she injects herself with it.
I actually, at first, thought like, okay, that's somewhat clever, right? Because this now, before, she could just walk right back and get shot in the head, right?
Yeah.
This gives her 20 hours where he will not kill her.
Yes.
So at first, I'm like, all right, like, and it's of course showing her progression from in the beginning. She has no morals,
Yeah.
as she says, and now
Which-
she's sacrificing herself.
Which I don't think the script trusted the audience to figure that out. So Ethan has to go, you who doesn't have any morals. Remember, she said that earlier. And she's like, I guess I do now. Save me.
But then, what does she do? She goes up to Tom Cruise and says, you should shoot me.
Yeah.
What was the point of you injecting yourself then if you were going to just get shot in the head? Like, you might as well have just thrown the...
Because they could still get her blood. I mean, it's pretty fresh. They're
But I
in a
mean, like-
lab. They could
Right,
probably
but that's
figure
what
out a
I
way to
mean. So it's
preserve
like-
her.
Theoretically, in this situation, right, she has to go get it because they know Tom Cruise won't kill her. So if she went and got the gun with the virus,
Yeah.
she could have given it to Tom Cruise and then gotten shot. That's the reason she couldn't give it to him, right? So why didn't she just do that if she was going to turn around and say, Tom Cruise, you should kill me now? Like, that was silly.
It's a little sloppy. It's a little
right?
sloppy.
Like, I think she should have really been committed
It
to
might be one of
finding
those,
this
like,
cure and getting out.
It seemed like a good idea at the time, and then she remembered it was a flesh-eating virus. She's like, oh, by
she's
hour
like,
15, I'm going to be a little rough.
"Oh."
So
I
yeah,
just didn't like that she went from like, I'm going to do something cool to like, help me, save me, just sacrifice me.
also, this is when the gladiator-ish music kicks in.
Yes,
Like here with the
absolutely.
girl's voice singing. But yeah, he tells her he's going to save her, and he's like, stay alive!
Yes, yeah.
Then he jumps out of the building and parachutes away.
Like you do.
Ambrose slaps her around and promises that she's going to be responsible for spreading the plague. He calls her Typhoid Mary. And she's like, what? What does that mean? Then McCloy meets with Ambrose in his secret bunker that Ambrose just has, I guess. Because he's the bad guy in a spy
has
movie,
to
so he
have
has a
one.
secret bunker. And how does Ethan get to the bunker? He rock climbs it.
Yes.
And Ethan does a front flip on one of the guards and gymnastics on the other. Literally has like the fucking whatever, the poles. And he
Oh, yes.
swings and hits a guy. Was he just doing gymnast stuff at the time? He was like, I gotta work this into the movie.
Hey, I'm trying to remember. When was like gymnastics big?
I don't
The
know. It must have been
Olympics?
just
Was that
something he was
around?
doing.
Maybe.
We see the bad guys are testing out. They show that they do have Chimera
Yes.
and Bellerophon that's proven. And they tell McCloy, they're like, all right, we want the 38 million pounds. And they're like, and stock options. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, we're going to use that money that you can't say you gave us because that would incriminate you to buy your stocks. And then, by the way, that virus, we just sent her out in the middle of Sydney, Australia. So it's going to start a plague. And in a couple weeks, they're going to want that cure. And we'll own 51% of the stocks. So everyone will be going after your cure. They should be asking, wait, how did you have a cure pre-ready to go? Hopefully no one asked that question.
Nope.
And we're going to be trillionaires. And McCloy's like, you're not taking my company from me. I'm like, yeah, we kind of are.
That's where he draws the line.
That's right. Ethan's making his way to the meeting. He almost gets caught, but he does a backflip while running forward.
Yes.
Which cracks me up and kicks a guy around a lot of pigeons.
Yeah, but like he jumps and then kicks because that gives you more kicking power.
In slow motion.
Yeah.
I think real slow motion, not the choppy
Yes.
kind.
There was like quite a mix in this
Again,
movie.
the flips and the twists and the twirls. It's like, all right, buddy, come on.
Wait, is this also where he has the grenade? He just like whips out
He has
a
a
grenade.
pipe bomb, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
he throws a pipe bomb at the door, blows it up, and then instead of just throwing another pipe bomb in or just walking in and shooting everyone, he walks through the door to give him a stare, and then a green screen dove flies through.
the doves.
Because
That's a
it's
John Woo, right?
John Woo, baby. And it's like, send someone to kill him. Let's continue our meeting. And I'd be like, can we move the meeting somewhere else?
I love he already made fun of him earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he doesn't just shoot a guard. And he's like, someone else take care of this. I can't just shoot him in the head.
So yeah, McCloy is transferring the money. And Ethan is hiding, but Hugh notices he's there because that fucking dove outs Ethan. So he has to do some gymnastics and gets into a bigger fight with Hugh. And then Hugh has him at gunpoint.
Yes.
And doesn't shoot him.
Correct.
And he asks him to raise his hands, which gives Ethan enough time to drop a grenade.
Yes.
It's
another
like,
grenade.
why didn't you shoot him? You don't need Ethan for anything.
That's what, see, he should have known. He should have taken his own advice.
It's his pride. He hated being inferior to him.
Right?
Ving Rhames' character from Pulp Fiction should have came in and be like, that's
Right.
pride fucking with you. Luther, no, I'm the other Ving Rhames.
Yes.
I'm going to leave now.
The other.
Some say the Band-Aid on the back of his head was his soul leaving.
Oh.
Did my soul leave out my nose when I got punched in my face?
That's what I want to know.
And definitely not when that zip popped. Anyway, Hugh brings Ethan into the lab.
Yes.
And Ethan is just mumbling. Sorry. Ethan, in quotes. And I like that he's like, he can't talk because I broke his jaw. And then what's his face is like, that makes a lot of sense,
yeah.
and I'm not going to question it, buddy.
Obviously. And he's just like,
So he's like pointing the gun at McCloy. He's like, yeah, I'll show you how I deal with people. And he like shoots Ethan. He's like, yeah, I got him.
no.
But then he turns around and realizes Ethan has the pinky bandage. He rips the mask off. It's you. He killed you.
This is where I say that's face off. We got a good face swap going on here.
Also, it feels like the old show where they got the villain to kill the other villain.
Exactly.
But I love it cuts to like, apparently while that was happening, Ethan, dressed as Hugh, just grabbed the suitcase and left with no one noticing. And it's like, rip the mask off. He tries to get into Luther's helicopter, but then bad guys show up shooting the helicopter. He's like, never mind, I'll get a motorcycle.
yeah, again with the helicopters.
So,
But this is the transition to the motorcycles. And that's when we start getting, from here on out,
it's the most amazing thing
the
ever.
best movie I've ever seen.
He's just driving around with this motorcycle, and the bad guys are chasing him on cars that were made 15 years earlier because, of course, they're going to blow up.
Yeah. Just one good shot to the gas tank.
Yes. I love they all get on the bridge and Luther's just lobbing grenade launchers at them, and like they blow up a car and Ethan drives through the explosion.
Yes.
But Luther suffers a big loss here.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a hole in his Versace jacket. It's really upsetting him.
Upset me too.
Also, the motorcycle, when it jumped onto the bridge, looked really bad. Like, it was clearly like on a wire that they removed, but
Yeah.
like it just moved a little too slowly onto the bridge. I'm like, I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I want to cut to
What
a
are the
cooler
physics
angle.
of a motorcycle doing that?
So there's a henchman in here who's hanging out the window in the car where all the bad guys get killed when he like does the burnout. And they're like, there's so much smoke. And then the truck hits them.
Oh, yes.
One of the henchmen in the car is Dominic Purcell, who was in Prison Break, right? That was the show, Prison Break. I know him from
yes.
Legends of Tomorrow. He's been in a bunch of
Yes.
stuff. This just goes to show that, you know, within 6 years' time, you could be unnamed henchman and then get to be Dracula in Blade Trinity. We have a Blade Trinity review. We actually reviewed all the Blade movies. And getting back to Patreon, Angela,
Yes.
did you know that I have an ongoing series on Patreon called Blade Boys?
Oh, that sounds so good. I would pay for it.
Yes, me, Royce, and Pessy, we go through every episode of the Blade TV show starring Sticky Fingers instead of Wesley Snipes. And I know what you're thinking. Hip-hop star Sticky Fingers, who had a small part in Leprechaun, Back to the Hood? Yes, Angela, the very same Sticky Fingers.
I've been wondering where could I find more of him in my life.
Well, apparently it was in 2006 in the Blade TV show. But anyway, go back and watch the Blade reviews and then watch Blade Boys. It's a really fun show.
So good.
Ethan almost gets his head cut off when he skids into like a broken
Yes.
car, which I feel like that was also them kind of one up the helicopter blade going into his neck in
Oh
the
no,
first
they
one.
one up that though in this later.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's the one up there. So yeah, he finally comes face to face with Ambrose, and they drive toward each other, and they do wheelies. Oh, before this,
Sorry.
when he blows up that one car, he does a front wheelie and spins around. So he even got the motorcycle to spin.
Right?
But in this one, because I remembered because when I watched it, I was like, wait, did this just blow up for no reason? I forgot his gas tank is leaking.
His gas tank's leaking and there's like another like little moment too where like
Yeah,
something gets thrown off the
something happens. But yeah,
Right.
they drive toward each other, they wheelie, and then they jump unrealistically high, crash into each other, and then for whatever reasons, the motorcycles also go up in the
I
air.
just think it's like a touching moment where they get to like jump into each other's arms.
It's very
And like if this was
romantic.
like a different soundtrack behind it, it would be really cute.
They beat the shit out of each other on the beach
Yes.
while trying to get control of a gun. It turns into a knife fight, and then my eye phobia has been very well documented on this.
Yes.
As much as 10-year-old teenage Tony loved this movie and watched it over and over again, even to this day, I have to go, I have to do that. Like, I can't. I'm like, nope, because it's a real knife.
That's the thing. This
Not
is
that a rubber knife would have been better because it still would have went in your eye, but they had it like on a cable so it couldn't go any further. But
yeah, in theory, if the cable doesn't snap.
yeah.
This is, I think, where I wrote the note of who is more reckless, Ethan Hunt or Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise for sure. Ethan Hunt, in the world that we live in that he
In
lives
his world, yeah.
he doesn't want that knife to go anywhere near his eye.
That
The bad
is-
guy is doing it. Tom Cruise is like, yeah, put that knife right in
He's
my
like,
eye.
Closer. And I read that he was like, no, all your weight should go into it.
Oh, stop it! We
This-
mentioned this in the Daredevil episode. Where's Laurence Olivier to say, have you tried acting? Stop it. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Yeah, I still, not a lot of things get me okay, so the first film, the control room
Yes,
thing,
that's great.
super, super tense.
Yeah.
I'm tense that whole scene. The fourth film, the tower, super, super tense. This is just like 5 seconds, and it gets me more tense than all those scenes combined. Because I'm like, no, not his eye, not his eye.
There is just a moment. There truly is like a
I don't like it.
yeah.
But yeah, they continue to kick the shit out of each other.
More spins, more jumps.
Yes, and Ethan kind of gets the upper hand But then he has a knife. So he has the knife. He could just toss it
Yeah.
at him and kill him. But then Ambrose calls Nyah a bitch. And Ethan's like, what did you say about my girlfriend as of last week? I'm going to fucking kick your ass.
Not here.
And he throws the knife into the... That's the thing. The girl... Actually, I just realized the girl's not around. I'd be like, hey, don't call her that. It's different if they're around. You have to like act like, hey, yeah, don't do that. If they're not around, like, hey, man, don't call her that.
I just feel like there would be no movie if you were Ethan Hunt, because you would just be like, sure, I will kill Nyah if it means to save the world. No problem.
Angela, I'm not in IMF. Like, what? I don't want to save anyone. Can you guys let me know if the world's at stake so I can get in my bunker?
If you choose to accept it. Nope, I don't. Thanks.
I'd be the
later.
Anthony Hopkins in this movie, baby. I'd be like, hey, you do it. Oh, we forgot to mention.
Here.
So Nyah, they dropped her off in Sydney, but since she's smart, she's made it to the nearest cliffside she can get to. Because she
knows.
plans to kill herself.
Oh, yes, again.
Yes, if they don't get to her in time. So he tells Luther, he's like, Luther, pick her up in the helicopter and bring her to me. It will be a lot faster. I'm going to go kill Ambrose. So yeah, he gets the knife, he throws it in the sand just so he can punch Ambrose a little bit more. Again, the macho-ness. It's like, come on, buddy. Can you just relax? So yeah, he ends up hitting his head against a rock.
Yeah.
Luther shows up with Nyah. He runs to get the thing, but then he stops because Ambrose is alive.
This is where I wrote double tap.
Yeah.
You know, like you were right there.
You had to really kill him. Hit his head against the rock over and over again.
Yes, you did not ensure his death before you turned around. And this is rookie mistake.
Did you see the very last Halloween movie?
No.
Well, it's not great, but you would like the very end of it.
Ooh.
Where they're like, we definitely killed Michael Myers. And the one goes, not enough. And then they take him to a big meat grinding thing and they shred him to pieces.
That's
Spoiler for Halloween Ends.
all I want in a movie. I just want the, like, if I don't see, like, the blood and guts, I don't believe the person's dead.
Yeah, it is a good moment because they were like, nah. I've reviewed that movie twice. We did a full review and then we did What is the Worst, because that's technically a Halloween 4.
Gotcha.
3 Halloween 4s. That has a multiverse because they keep rebooting because they get embarrassed at how many sequels they have. Anyway, yeah, so we get, what's his face? Ambrose going, you should have killed me.
And you know what? I agree. He's right.
Which I feel like a lot of characters were saying at this point. I think Ian McKellen says it in X2. He's like, you should have killed me when you had the chance.
Yeah.
So Ethan, luckily, one of the guns that fell is right by his foot.
See, that's what I said. It was important to know.
It
Fell
was.
off.
And he figures out, he's like, you know what? I'm going to kick the sand. And then the gun will go up vertically and I will catch it midair and have enough time to do one of my twists and shoot him. I like we never actually see him get shot. He's shooting like a million times and the guy's just rolling. It's an awkward death. I wonder if this is one of the reshoots where they're like,
What is this rated? Is it PG-13?
It's PG-13.
Yeah, it has those moments that make it feel real PG-13.
Yeah.
You know, instead of an R. Like, that's that moment that, like,
Yeah.
we would have seen blood if
Yes.
it was an R-rated movie
Yes.
versus the, like, wild first half and the wild second half.
Yeah. So yeah, he saves the day. They cure Nyah. I like that he meets with Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins is like, wait, you destroyed the virus. Thought I told you to bring that back. He's like, oh, no, it was a fire. It just happened. And Hopkins is like, okay, we're going to let this one slide. But yeah, he expunges Nyah's record, kind of like they did with Luther in the previous film.
Yep.
And he also lies to Hopkins about her whereabouts. He's like, where's Nyah? I'm like, don't worry about it. And then he meets with her in Sydney, and they're all happy now.
But for how long?
Well, I guess not much longer. I think they did say they wanted her for part 3, and she didn't come back.
Oh, is that what happened?
I don't know. I didn't. When I was looking it up today, I didn't have time to do like a deep dive. But I think she was considered for part 3, and then they ended up not using her. But yeah, the movie ends all happy. Cut to Metallica. What was the name of the song
we got
again?
Some,
I Disappear.
yeah, I was like, we're going in on it. Like,
And yeah, so it doesn't feel very Mission Impossible.
no.
No, there's moments
That
where
was
it does, where they're planning out their heist and stuff a little bit,
Yes.
but it does feel like a little generic. I'm just gonna shoot up the bad guys. Which, yeah, he does use guns and stuff, even in later movies, but, like, it's never like, I'm going to shoot up and blow up the bad guys. That's
Right. I think it just takes away, like, there's so many, like, action movies, right? And then you got to, like, find what's your little thing that makes you, like, unique, or, like, what's your twist on an action movie. And I think it just took all of the Mission Impossible, like, uniqueness and was like, no, we're doing action movies.
Which I get, that's what John Woo does, but I mean, and he put his stamp on it, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't quite work as Mission Impossible.
If we even look here, it's like just him inside of an explosion.
Yeah.
Like nothing says Mission Impossible about
Now,
it.
that being said,
Yes.
it's my favorite Mission Impossible. I watch it all the time. I love this movie so much.
I'm a little upset because I feel like our review of it made it sound really cool.
Yeah.
Like as we were talking about it, I'm
Well,
like,
it's the
that's
coolest movie I've ever seen, Angela.
I just think like I don't know what it is about. Like I was like each individual part sounds kind of interesting, but when you put it together, it just
You're right. It does move at kind of like a slow pace
in the beginning, right?
In the beginning,
like, the first half of it's super slow.
They try to make up for it with like the frantic editing and the fast like edits, but like the story is moving very slow. It takes a while for them to get to that big heist thing that they're trying.
Right.
So yeah, it kind of falls flat there. This one did not get the best reviews.
It did not.
People who love the first one were not super into this, even though it was the most financially successful movie of the year, highest grossing film of the year. Yeah, so for whatever reason, people just didn't strike a chord with them. So I feel like if I had watched this movie when I was like 20, I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah.
But again, perfect time for young Tony to watch this.
I mean,
Like,
this is a great movie
it's
for
just amazing. I will say I used to like just skip to the final fight a lot.
because that's the best part.
Yeah, I did do it. It is one of my that last fist fight too was like one of my favorite one-on-one fist fights. Yes. Obviously, number one is Jimmy versus Dalton in Roadhouse, the original Roadhouse, where they fight shirtless on the beach and he rips his throat out. Obviously, that is the gold standard. But this one is like a top 10, like just over the top, stupid fight. Yeah. Like they're doing moves that don't make any sense. Nope. But it is a good time. It is a really good time.
I do think it's really fun.
I will say his team, it's really just Luther. That Billy guy is just helicopter guy. He's actually not that. He has that one moment where he interrupts the dude. But I wonder if a lot of his stuff got cut out. There's like really nothing to that character.
No, it's just him and the helicopter is more of a character. I feel like we see him all the time.
Yeah, they know like what characters to bring back and what characters to not.
Yeah, I agree.
They learn, they're like, yeah, I don't think Billy Baird, the character, is coming back for Mission Impossible 3. But yes, Angela, what are your final thoughts on Mission Impossible 2?
It was a fun time. And it was also, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. That is my review.
It's the best and worst Mission Impossible movie. Yes, that is it from us. We're going to try to cover all of the Mission Impossibles this year.
I'm super excited.
Go back if you want a head start to see what we think of 3. I mean, you can probably wait a couple weeks, or you can listen to the commentary track now.
The commentary's like that fresh, immediate reaction.
Yes.
Like, no clue what's happening, and it just happens, and then my expression comes out of my mouth. So that's so great, and then come back in a couple weeks and watch our review.
Check out that on Patreon. And Final Reckoning is coming out. They changed the title. Now it's weird, because the previous one is called Dead Reckoning Part 1. But it didn't do that well financially, so now they're just calling it Final Reckoning.
Like when you have like a lot of drafts of something, you're like the final.
This is the final one.
2. This is final. No, really, the final one.
Final 3. We talked about it when we reviewed it at the time. We're gonna re-review it, but 2023 there were multiple films that were secret 2-parters.
Yeah,
Mission Impossible was open about it at least, but it followed 2 part 1s. Was its Fast X, I think, was a secret part 1, and the Spider-Man animated movie was a secret part 1. And then it came out like right before Barbenheimer. So they started filming during COVID, and it got like a monkey wrench thrown into it. So that's why it probably cost more. It's still a good movie. But yeah, it's just funny that they're like, change the title, that'll fix it. I'm like, no, just go with it. It's fine. But yeah, the plan is to do 2, 3, and 4 separately, and then since the last 4 movies are by Christopher McQuarrie, we'll come back after Final Reckoning and we'll do what is Christopher McQuarrie's best Mission Impossible movie. So stay tuned this year for that. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Angela,
Yes.
if I needed a studio space or I needed to rent a film crew or something in the Philadelphia area, where should I go?
Can check out AngelaWolfVideo.com for a great place for video studio, podcast studio, getting into podcasting,
Ooh.
as we see.
If you need advice on what not to do, you can hit me. Yeah, I wanted to use your studio for a cemetery set, but luckily we found that very real cemetery in the Ed Wood
fair.
episode.
I mean, like, you couldn't turn that up, so turn that down.
And also, thank you for not giving me a heads up that the women sabotaged my birthday episode and I was left alone in that cemetery. Charlie's Angels episode. Anyway, that is it from us. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.